Awesome. Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Hives for Heroes Connect and Serve Live. We're excited to have you here with us this month. We've got a lot to cover today, from disaster relief efforts to new scholarships, community growth, and to $100 card giveaways. And of course, we have an excellent special guest for you today. So let's dive straight in. First, of course, we want to acknowledge the devastating weather that hit the East Coast. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone there on the ground. Of course, we know many friends, members of Hives for Heroes, and family members out there. We've seen incredible resilience from the beekeepers and a ton of support out for our heroes, but there's still going to be a long road to recovery. In response to Helen and in preparation for the next storm, we've launched a disaster relief fund that should be in the comments now, to support the affected beekeepers and communities in those areas. Please consider donating if you are able to do so. Hives for Heroes has already matched $5,000 to that fund. We put that up front so you know that it's real. We want those dollars to get to people in those affected areas. And if you are in need of assistance, please go into that and check for the disaster relief page and get the link to the application for relief. And of course, Florida, we're here with you as well. This fund is also for you. We have noticed that in the community as a whole, there are no disaster relief funds for people of our community, all beekeepers. So we're starting. We're going to lead this area, and we have the fund started, and we're going to take measures in order to keep our community safe and taken care of. Although it's not a lot of money, it is the thought and intention that goes out, and it will help those that are in need. Please stay safe, Florida. Everybody that's going to get affected by this next storm, and probably the next storm that comes into, they look pretty gnarly. If you need to get out, please get out. If you need somebody around, get to the Facebook group page. Maybe somebody can have you on their couch or something like that. Get out of those areas that are going to be hit pretty darn hard. It looks like it's going to hit that Tampa area. We just want you to stay safe. Next up, we're thrilled to announce our Be More scholarship is continuing. The scholarship is designed to help our heroes further their business and personal growth. Whether you're pursuing a new startup or expanding your beekeeping experiences, clearly we want to support you. Over the last 2 years, we've already given $30,000 in those beekeeping areas, and we want to help you every step of the way. So these Be More scholarships are open till October 15th. There'll be another $20,000 going out this year to 20 recipients throughout the United States. So please don't miss out. If you fit the criteria, please fill out an application. The criteria has changed as well. So anybody 2 years or more within the organization is open for the scholarship. Also, for those of you who haven't been receiving our newsletter, we do get some feedback of you haven't gotten it. Please check your spam. It goes into spam as well. So please check your spam and then reply to that spam. So now your email knows that it's a good email. So it knows that it's coming from a trusted sender. So please do that as well. It's packed with updates, important news, clearly, and opportunities for your success. We encourage everyone to stay engaged on our platforms. We just opened the Reddit platform with some suggestions from you guys. Charles is going to be the monitor there on the Reddit platform. Facebook group page is probably the most active one, which is fun, but you got to check it. Please go and actually check it and engage with it. It even falls down in my feed when we're doing admin stuff. So you got to be a little bit proactive and go engage in those things that are in the Facebook group page. Clearly, we also have the Instagram, the regular Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. So be involved in all of those. So your input and participation help us grow as a community. It's growing a lot, as y'all already know. And of course, y'all make Hives for Heroes what this is. We're just here for each other. We're a community of beekeepers, community of heroes, all going in the same direction, right? We might have different ways to do that, but that's okay. But we're here as a community to support each other. In addition to that Be More scholarship, we also have the BU scholarship. That's available, which focuses on professional development and leadership, continuing your education through the incredible programs delivered by each master beekeeping program throughout the United States. These certification programs could last up to 5 years. You can do education for 5 years with a lot of these organizations, reaching the ranks of some of the best master beekeepers in the world, which is pretty incredible. Maybe you're the next one. The scholarship is designed to help you reach your goals. And of course, the reimbursement on this is available on the website all the time. It's always open. It's there at your pace for you. Also, starting this past month, we have opened up a Zoom meeting on Thursdays. So on Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, these calls are a great way to connect with other heroes, share experiences, and learn from each other. Sometimes we'll have some guests pop in every now and then, but the really cool part about this is a community aspect. If you don't have a mentor, for example, yet, come on here. We'll walk you through stuff. Last time, Charlie even took people into breakout rooms to talk about their connections and who they're connecting with and work through things as we got to know each other. A little anecdote from last time, if y'all didn't see it on the Facebook group page, we had 2 coasties that were on there at the same time, which was awesome because clearly we know coasties aren't as prevalent, right? And they got on there, and then one of them works for the DAV, and now he's helping the other through his disability claims that he hasn't done in many, many years. So you never know what's going to happen when you get on to the call. But again, we're here to support each other, whether that's personal growth and development, whether that's bees, or just having somebody to talk to. We're here to do that with you. Make sure to check out our events and resources page on the website. It's literally your go-to spot for the resources that are available in the areas, to include state, national, and veteran-specific resources throughout the United States. Also, events and workshops. It's just a great place to go. If you have events that you would like to post, it's free to do that. You just go to the link on the events and put your own event in there so others can see it as well. Troy is able to take care of that. And if you have any changes, you'd contact him as well at help@hivesforheroes.org. And we also are very close to selling out the suits. So remember, there's a 50% off. We had an awesome donor that came in and said, we want to make sure that y'all are safe and get those suits out. So they gave us 50% of that. And then that kind of lowers your cost there. You just pay for the shipping on top of that. And boom, you have a triple ventilated bee suit with full length, up to the knee zippers, even the drinking fencing veil, etc. It's pretty awesome. I wear them. Lots of people wear them. We are almost out of those. We are out of a lot of sizes, but we're almost out of them completely. So get yours before they're gone. And that 50% gift is the code TY2024. TY2024. It stands for Thank You 2024. And then we also have amazing partnerships with Veto Pharma, which is really, really cool. All right, so what they ended up doing was, not only are they giving the free mite checks at the cost, we've also seen some of you go in and find already the Apivar strips. So they're 4-pack strips that are free as well. They're typically $25, and they are going for the $5.50 for the shipping cost. So you go onto the website, you could literally get a mite check and Apivar strips for $11. Pretty good deal, I can tell you that. So don't miss on that. It's at the website, so please feel free to go there. So now, of course, let us see. It is my truly distinct honor to introduce our special guest, Mr. Kent Williams. He is the EAS Beekeeper of the Year. Kent's an incredible leader in the beekeeping community. Kent has been beekeeping for over 35 years and currently manages around 1,200 colonies, which are located in California, Mississippi, and Kentucky at various times throughout the year. His bees play a vital role in almond pollination, and he produces and markets both honey and bulk bees, including queens. Each April, Kent hosts a 3-day beekeeping school on his Kentucky farm, offering hands-on education for beekeepers of all experience levels. He also teaches queen rearing courses across the Mid-South. Notably, all courses and classes and schools are offered free of charge to the attendees. Kent is certified as an Eastern Apicultural Society master beekeeper and speaks to 50 to 60 groups annually, now to include ours, though he feels most at home in the beeyard. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Kent Williams. We're thrilled to have you. How are you today?
Thanks. I'm doing well, doing fine.
Well, it's so good to see you. It's I know it's been a while, but first off, congratulations. I mean, what an incredible journey that you've been on in, your 35 years. And I know that you were humbled because we just talked earlier about the honor of being the EAS Beekeeper of the Year.
Yeah, I appreciate the award. I don't feel like I'm on the same level as people that have won it before because I know them
Yeah.
or I have known them in the past, and they're just people on another level, and I'm just a beekeeper. But
You're
I
just a beekeeper, but you're a beekeeper on another level too.
well, uh, I'm just a guy that's been willing to give some time to people. I mean, that's
Oh man.
really what it amounts to.
Awesome. We're looking at, I just see a comment in here. Volume is down on Kent. He was just saying, he's really humbled about the opportunity to be a part of this. And there's a lot of amazing beekeepers that have been the ES Beekeeper of the Year, Beekeepers of the Year in general. And they're just saying that they can't hear you right now. So we might be having some technical difficulties that we were working through earlier. I can hear you. So I'm going to just kind of go through and translate as well. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible to see all the amazing people that have gone before you. There will be some after you, but your humility that I've learned from you is pretty impressive. It's not like it's, wow, I'm this person. It's literally, I have been just being myself.
Well, when people come here or when I go places and speak, they see me at my very best, and you know they think that's who I am. But I see me uh, throughout the day, and when I go to bed at night, I know that I'm not what people think I am. I'm just a guy. I'm just no different than anybody else. It's just that I'm willing to take time for folks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's important, right? Willing to be able to take time, take your time, talent, and knowledge, and share that with others. And I hope that's a good lesson for others as well as we're taking time, talent, and knowledge to transfer some knowledge, right, to new beekeepers that are coming in. For us, it's Hives for Heroes veterans and first responders all over the country. And that's pretty impressive. So we have to know, right? How did you first get into beekeeping? Like, what inspired you to start?
Well, when I first be- began actually keeping bees, my first experience was with bees was helping my grandfather rob bee trees in the winter, and he would rob one every winter, and that's where he got his honey that he ate pretty much throughout the rest of the year.
That's
And
pretty cool.
that was my first experience with them. But when I first started actually keeping bees, we were transitioning out of growing tobacco. I mean, I grew up and still live on a farm, and it was a typical West Kentucky farm. We grew corn, wheat, soybeans. We raised hogs, fair to finish, and we grew tobacco. And when the tobacco program was going away, we sold our base and were transitioning into a small acreage crop that would return a decent profit. And we started growing produce, and we were sending yellow squash to a brokerage in St. Louis. The yellow squash cucurbits have to have an insect pollinator or they won't make a fruit. And through a local contact that I'd known the man for a long time, he had a peach orchard and he had bees, and he needed barn space for his tobacco. And because he was a tobacco
Tobacco.
grower, yeah, he was a tobacco grower too. So I traded him barn space for a hive of bees because I needed bees for the squash. And
Wow.
that was the beginning. That I never intended to have more than one or two hives that set out behind the barn. It's one of these pastel color dreams things. That a couple of hives set out behind the barn, and I would go out there Thanksgiving morning and get the honey out to give to the family for the. It turned into a monster. I mean, the first year I started with one and wound up with three. The second year I had 17. The third year I had 51 because people would come to the house looking for honey to buy honey.
Oh my
And
gosh.
there weren't that many beekeepers in the area, and the ones that were in the area didn't really produce that much honey. And because they didn't care if the bees swarmed or not, they they wanted the bees more to look at, I guess, or just for personal use. But anyway, uh, honey was a product that sold itself, and people would drive out here from town 15 miles to buy honey. So we saw that honey was a better small acreage crop than produce. So we began to back out of the produce growing and get more into the honey production. and then that kind of morphed into uh, learning to produce bees, and then learning to produce queens and selling bees to other beekeepers, and it just grew from there. It's something that cascaded on itself, a business that just built on itself, and almost nothing that I've had happen in my, especially in my beekeeping life, but almost nothing was something that I planned for.
Wow.
Things that were successful, that I've been successful at, it's almost like they just fell in my lap. So, I feel obligated to pass some of that on.
Gosh, I mean, you just loaded us up with literally years about stories. Literally starting with one hive, getting to 51 hives within well, really kind of 2 years, right? On your third season, and now everybody knows you as the honey guy. Somebody call in the chat. They said Pooh Bear. That's pretty incredible. And I think maybe that's kind of a story of just being gifted and then giving through, right? Oh, having that open hand and being able to steward and pass on things. And I think that's one of the levels of your success, my friend.
Well, it brought returns also. I mean, the people that I have met and developed relationships with through beekeeping and through honey, um, they have returned way more to me than I ever gave to them to begin with. I mean, I developed contacts in commercial beekeeping, and uh, all the little arms of and rabbit trails off of beekeeping that you need to have contacts in to make a living at it, and all of that came from just being willing to take time and develop a relationship with other beekeepers. And some of those beekeepers were at the same level I was, but went way beyond what I was doing, or they knew somebody that said, "Well, this guy, um, you can depend on him, so go ahead and do business with him." And all of that, all of those things returned to me way more than what I
Way
invested.
more. Yeah.
If you
Well,
invest,
I mean, that's beautiful to see, right? You're saying, hey, I'm doing just my little part, and then these relationships that come through this end up giving, whatever the number is, right? The multiple 3, 5, 10 times back more than you ever thought would ever come from it. And that's really giving of your time and your knowledge, and then building healthy relationships. I mean, it's funny because these are, literally talking our core values of building healthy, accountable relationships in your areas, working together, and the sum, right? We call it 1+1 = 3, right?
right,
You become better when you're working together.
right, and every beekeeper's goal should be to make their fellow beekeeper at least as good as they are, and maybe even better, to help their fellow beekeeper to become the best that they can possibly be, because you don't know, they may put bees right across the fence row from yours, and if they're not a good beekeeper, they're going to have sick bees, and then you're going to have sick bees. So it's in all of our interest to try to help one another to become really good
Yeah,
bees.
absolutely. It looks like, Kim, it looks like we're having some issues. I'm looking through the channel right now on the volume side. So what I'm going to do real quick is just mute it. I'm going to take you off real quick. I'm going to take me off real quick and come back onto the channel as well. We know it's live. It's fine. Things happen. We're good to go. So I'm just going to remove us real quick, add us back on, and then we'll ask the audience if they can just turn their mic up as much as they can to be able to hear. And then we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right. How does that look? Oh, he just dropped. Awesome. So sometimes we have technical difficulties. It happens, right? Kent just dropped. Kent's out in Kentucky. Already, if you can't hear it, what an incredible human being. Like, what an awesome person to be able to share his time, talent, and knowledge with everybody that has come through his path. And that's a huge lesson learned from all of us. Hey, thank you all for being here. Kent, can you hear us again?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. It seems like it's probably still a volume issue. I just want to go through some of these things. We got people from Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, Virginia, Maine, wow, Ohio, Georgia, Arkansas, Tennessee, of course, because I see my buddy over here, Craig. We got Jim from Washington. Let's see, where else are we at? Craig, Tennessee. Dirt Rooster's on. What's up, Dirt Rooster? We just talked earlier today. He's out in Mississippi. Who else is on? Let's see, Connecticut, Virginia, kind of everywhere across. Hey, Deanie, y'all are from West Virginia, and we have just a ton of people on here. So thank y'all for showing up. I know y'all are here for Kent because he's such an incredible individual. Jim McMahon's here from Oregon as well. So it seems like mine volume's a little loud, yours is a little light, but we're going to try to push through. We got Kansas today for Alden. He's usually in Georgia. And then we have Indiana as well. So thank you all for being here. Hopefully we can keep, going through this. So one of the other questions was kind of what's the biggest misconception people have about bees or beekeeping that you've seen? And how have you remedied that? Whether that's fear or whatever that looks like.
Well, I mean, there's a natural fear that people have, but that's pretty easily overcome in most people. Some people, the fear is it's more of a phobia, but if it's just a fear, that's easily overcome. If you put them in a suit, have them stand 10 feet away from the hive, and you work through the hive and show them that they won't die, when you open the hive up, that the bees aren't there wanting to come kill you. And that fear is fairly easy to overcome. But misconceptions, probably the biggest misconception of people that have never had bees is that there's not a lot of work involved. You set the bees out there and they make honey, and you go get the honey, and that's way too simplistic. I didn't mean for there to be this much work in beekeeping when I first started, but it makes me wish I was raising tobacco again sometimes. People don't recognize the need to actually manage beehives. And maybe 50 years ago, you didn't have to manage beehives, boxes on them. But now there is so many things that can go wrong with a hive of bees that have nothing to do with being a poor beekeeper. It's just what happens in a hive of bees anymore. And there's parasites that we didn't have years ago. And there's all kinds of things that can kill a hive. And if you're not on top of it, you won't have a hive, more than a couple of years. So that's probably the biggest misconception is the amount of labor that's involved, and maybe how hot you can get inside of a bee suit. Even if the weather's not warm, you'll get warm inside of a bee suit. And there's a lot of misconceptions people have. None of them, though, the one that makes the biggest difference is not recognizing the need to manage their bees and to learn everything that they can as quick as they can. And it's not like going to medical school. You shouldn't expect.
Yeah. I will tell you, we are doing such a disservice to your wisdom right now as the audio is not working as effectively as it should. And kind of my takeaway from that was sometimes people think they don't have to really manage their bees, right? 50 years ago, you could just kind of let them do what they're doing. And now the management of bees, but not only does the management need to occur, but it also takes a lot more time and energy than you thought it would, because you saw it somewhere on Facebook thinking it was going to be easy.
Yeah. And if you saw somebody on YouTube working through a hive of bees without a suit on, and you go try that, maybe their bees, you might could work through them without a suit on. But
Yep.
You don't do that in my bee yard more than once. That first time is a lesson.
Yeah, the first time's your last time getting in Kent's bee yard without a suit. What he's trying to share is that when you go into when you see the stuff on YouTube and things of that nature, and you see people without suits and things of that in that area, those are their bees. and they might be comfortable, or they might be just showing you the things that they want to show you from cut video. But you don't go into Kent's bee yard without a bee suit, is what he's saying.
And I would not recommend going into your bee yard without a bee suit either.
True. See, there's the wisdom right there.
Have a smoker lit, and smoking, you may not need it, but it's better to have it lit and not need it than to really need it and it
There
not
you go.
be
There you
smoke.
go.
So
So, kind of going into that challenging portion, because you kind of mentioned that, right? People think it's going to be easy. It's really not. So, what are some of the bigger challenges that you have faced personally as a beekeeper, and how have you overcome those things?
well, the biggest challenges are always the thing that you don't see coming. Um, we're pretty good at killing varroa mites, but we're not that good at recognizing virus outbreaks and things that have
Mm,
vectored the hive with varroa mites until after the fact, and the bees are gone, and you wonder what happened. And you send some to a lab, and you find out, yeah, you had Lake Sinai virus, or you had this virus, or this other virus. And most viruses, there's only a handful of viruses that have a visible symptom. So stuff that's under the radar are the things that are the most devastating to you because
yeah.
you failed, and maybe you were good at killing varroa mites, but the varroa mites had a high viral count and vectored that into the hive, and it it's just frustrating sometimes. Those are the things that cause beekeepers to quit. You know, 2 or 3 years into the craft, they get discouraged and they quit. But what I teach when people come to our farm, uh, what I teach is that if you want to stay in business keeping bees, you need to learn to take one hive and be able to make four out of it
Mm.
with, within that season, and then you can stay in business beekeeping because you could sustain a 75% loss and still keep your numbers up. You won't make much honey, but you'll keep your numbers up.
Yeah, that's great. Stan just said only half the virus have visible symptoms, so that's good stuff. That's great wisdom. When you're starting to share these types of things, it's the beekeeping and the education, right? The practicality of understanding that it is difficult work. You know, we're here in Houston, we're in Texas. It's hot, it's nasty. Sometimes the weather doesn't want to cooperate with you. Sometimes you don't have time, but you also got to be able to see patterns and understand what's going on in your own yard as well. So that's very good, because a lot of people, you wouldn't see all those the virus type pieces if you're just kind of watching online. You do need some education. Let's see, what are the biggest challenges that you have faced as a person? Because I know that you got a personal story too. You're not just an awesome beekeeper, right? You got some personal things that you've gone through, in which I personally think are incredible. And how have you worked through those and become the person you are? Because you've taken on some pretty big roles in people's lives.
Well, that's what people that look at my history and everything. That's what they think. To me, they're not big roles. I mean, I've helped several beekeepers kind of make the leap to becoming commercial beekeepers, and that was on them.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I showed them how to do it, and I gave them contacts, and I gave them some advice, and still do occasionally. But they're the ones that made it work. And you know, I've been involved with the Master Beekeepers program at EAS for quite some, well, since 2003. But through that, I get a lot of speaking engagements and go places and speak, and I get to meet a lot of people,
Yes, sir.
and you get a lot of different perspectives when you go to different places where the problems they have. Some of them are the same as what we have in Mississippi, which are the same as we have in West Kentucky, but some of them are totally different also. I mean, if you're talking to somebody from Brownsville, Texas, their problem is more like the Africanized bee issue, and being able to keep their bees calm enough to work them and keep them close to their house, or you know, in a field where it won't cause any problems anyway. But we don't have that problem in most yet. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's always a yet with this. We don't have this tropicales mite yet. Someday it will be here. We didn't have varroa at one time either, but it got here. We didn't have
Yes, sir.
that. So there's always that that next monster just over the horizon that you don't see coming, and those are the things that are devastating uh, to the psyche of beekeepers. And it's people that make their living with bees know that they don't have a choice. They have to gut it out, learn how to deal with this, and come back from the losses. But people that are more casual beekeepers, hobbyists, and even sideliners, it's very depressing when there's a new pest that comes on and it causes big problems, and then you find out how to take care of the pest, and then the pest becomes tolerant of your treatment, and
Yes.
have to find another treatment, and those things are frustrating, depressing, and those are the things that cause me to lose my temper sometimes.
You lose your temper? I don't know. I mean, you look like a pretty nice guy. I'll tell you what. Hey,
Well,
you dropped another couple pieces in there that I want to go right back to and revisit. The humility that you have is that humility of what I believe Hives for Heroes. We're giving people opportunities. That's it. We can't do it for you. We can't hold your hand the whole way. You step up and you do it and you crush it. And there have been so many people in this org that have really taken that opportunity and run, and that's awesome. There are others that will say, "Hey, you know what? I need to have a handhold for a little while," and that's good. But at the end of the day, we're adults. We're going to go do what we want to do, and whatever takes that priority in your life is awesome. And I bet you've had some really good people that took that wisdom and said, "I can do this," and they just crushed it because it seems like that's the case.
I have I have my favorite success stories, of people that I've helped along the way, and uh, you could take me completely out of the equation, and they would have found somebody. They would have found some way to have made it work. But I was fortunate enough to be involved with them, and and there's been some that did good for a while and then just fell away. That's okay.
That's okay.
There's no crime in that. Um, but I'm um, I'm an advocate of really fast teaching. You know, if somebody comes here to learn beekeeping, the first time they go out in the field with me, if they stay in the field with me, we're going to stay there for a couple of hours, and we're going to get sweaty and smoky, and we're going to have bees all in the air around. But we're going to look at frames, and they're going to see the difference between a healthy frame and a sick frame. And they're, from day one, I want people that come here to learn. I want them to be able to read a frame from day one, so that the next time they come, we'll go back through it and say, "You remember that frame that was
Remember?
sick? You
Yeah.
remember what we did to it? Well, now look at it. That's
Wow.
how to fix it." And I want to ingrain those things in people's minds, so that by the fourth or fifth time they're coming, they're telling me what they're seeing.
Yes,
And
sir.
so, I mean, it's a lot faster than taking them and showing them across the field. Those are beehives, and there's bees in those boxes, and they'll sting you if you don't, want to put a suit on if you go. And it's I like to go a lot deeper than that, a lot quicker, because even with kids, I mean, teach everybody like they're an adult,
Yes.
and they respond like they're an adult.
I,
And
I very much agree with that. The first time I remember trying to do splits the first probably 6 months that I was beekeeping, and you doing it once or twice really tough to do, especially as a new beekeeper, at least for me. And I'm even a hands-on person. And then I went to Blake's yard, and we did like 300 of them in the morning. And boy, I'll tell you what, I could do a split like nobody's business right now today with eyes closed, darn it.
Yeah, repetition, repetition helps.
But it was all in. I mean, he threw me. He threw. Actually, it was a team of us, right? And we threw the deep end. And he's like, "There's the guys. Let's go." And it worked. Let me put it that way. It worked real good. It's you could spend a year in a book or 10 years in a book and never learn that quick.
Yeah,
And I love that because you being a mentor. I mean, you've been a mentor to a lot of people, and all mentors are different. Not every mentor is going to be exactly like you. That's great.
right.
There are different people all over the world, and that's wonderful as well. And our approaches will be different based on the people that we have. You're pretty similar in your approach. At the end of the day, you got somebody, and that's something to really value is when you have somebody that's there that's willing to give their time and energy.
Right.
Respect that, honor that, and then work for it. It's good.
But every teacher, it doesn't matter what you're teaching, but every teacher, their goal should be to have their student get better than they are. I mean, at some point, you want your student to become the master, and that's my purpose when I'm teaching people is to teach them to be first at least as good as I am, and then to learn something and get better.
Yeah, and then teach me. We do it all the time around here. We have we simply just don't know everything, and when it comes to XYZ, going, hey, we need advice. Here like HQ and state leaders and those that are involved on a more consistent basis are just always giving ideas, and then we're like, okay, that one's great, let's do that. That one's great, let's do that. We can definitely. Um, and we can learn from you in those categories as well. It's not just about bees. These are all life lessons that go from bees easily translatable into our personal lives.
Yeah, it's all relationship based. I mean, any successful business is usually built around relationships, and beekeeping is no different. And if you can develop a relationship with, a working relationship where you can have back and forth conversation, and you can talk about the tough things, and you can talk about feeling rotten because you think that you rolled a queen up, and now there there's queen cells everywhere. You can talk about stuff like that without one of you calling the other one an idiot. You know, and,
Yeah, that's just a great start and probably exactly the way you should be. We don't need to be calling names.
yeah, I mean it's all built on good relations, good working relationships, and those never go away. I mean, even people that have come here that didn't stay in beekeeping, um, we still have a good working relationship, and once in a while, they'll say, I got a couple of hives of bees again, and I may need a queen. You think you would have any? Well, sure, we'll find a queen for you.
That's awesome. I mean, again, relationships, right? Back to those core values, back to just being a good human and building these healthy relationships that you're able to support each other, and especially right now, like the East Coast, right? And Florida's about to get hit. I mean, you got to know your neighbors. If you don't know your neighbors right now, go find them. Go know who they are, and try to support each other in those areas if you can. I know Helen has been doing well. Helen, the hurricane has done a lot of destruction. Helen, one of our mentors, has been updating us a lot on Facebook and just seeing that devastation. But that's one of those things that they're doing. Of course, we have our hurricane relief fund. They have a relief fund as well, and she's been posting that in updates of all the roads and things of that nature, real time. So thank you to Helen for that. And of course, we're all thinking about you guys out there. So on to what are some of the most interesting things or like surprises that you've learned through bees, but about yourself, like you as a person? What have bees taught you?
Well, what they've taught me is that it's kind of like Yogi Berra said, it's not over till it's over. You know, um, when you lose bees, the old saying, the only way to be a cowboy is to get back on the horse. When you get thrown to, when you lose bees, get back on the horse. But grow more bees. If you don't know how to raise bees, find somebody that does and copy one of the best pieces of advice I can give anybody is that if you're wanting to go into a business like beekeeping, find somebody that's doing exactly what you want to do and is successful at it,
Mm,
their business model. And I mean, nobody has a patent on their business model or copyright. Copy their business model. Go talk to them. Beekeepers are very forthcoming about the, yeah, this is what really knocked me down one time. So don't let it get you. Uh,
Mhm.
they're very forthcoming about things like that for the most part. But um, that's what it that's kind of what it taught me is how to how to work within a community of people, and nobody gets over on the other person, and everybody kind of, I mean, it's not it's not like socialism or anything. It's just neighbors helping neighbors,
Yes,
people.
sir.
And right now, with what has happened with Helene, uh, that has come to the forefront. The people that are doing the best that they can are the ones that have those relationships with the people around them.
Yes,
They
sir.
didn't have to develop it overnight. Oh my goodness, everything's gone. What are we going to do? They had people from across the way that were standing there with them, and that's what we do as beekeepers. If I had a bee yard stolen several years ago, and um, I didn't even know anybody knew that it was stolen except me and a couple of guys that worked with me.
Hmm.
The night after I got home, it's like 3 days later, a beekeeper from East Tennessee called me and said, "Where do you want me to deliver this load of bees?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "I have a trailer load of bees already loaded up, and I'm sending my daughter with them, and she's gonna leave as soon as you give me an address." He said, "Ain't nobody gonna treat a friend of mine like that, and them and steal
Man,
bees." I said, "Look, they didn't steal all my bees." He said, "Well, uh, do you know where they are? We'll go get them." I said, "No, no, I don't want to start any war or anything like that." But he was willing. He already had bees loaded on a trailer and was willing to send them uh, 500 miles or so to
man,
replace the bee yard that I had stolen. And
that's
this
incredible. That's incredible. You might have to call Randy for that one to go repo them bees over there.
it was in his neighborhood,
Get out of here.
but
Oh my gosh.
things like that, things like that are that's what showed me how a person should react. I mean, we don't have any choice of what happens to us, but we have a choice of how we react to what happens to us.
Yeah,
And
we
that's
talk about the difference between reaction and responding, right? That react is that initial,
yep,
aggravation or anger, and that response is just take that second, take that little bit of time to think
think
about.
yeah, think about what you're going to do or say. And I mean, I've had so many great lessons from other beekeepers that uh, the sort of people that have won that award that I've got, that I don't feel like I'm on their level, because they're the ones that I learned these lessons, these life lessons from. And the life lessons are, uh, get, don't be afraid to give of yourself. And if you see somebody that has a need and you can meet that need, and it's not going to hurt you in any way to meet the need, then do it.
Yeah,
Most of the time, all it takes is a little bit of time. It don't take money. It just takes time. And that's what those guys taught me, and some ladies too. That's what they taught me, is be willing to give of yourself and not expect anything in return. Well, from several years of beekeeping with that attitude, I've found out that that returns to me many times over. I've had so many people help me out that I didn't ask for, but it's because that business relationship has been there.
I mean that's a lot of wisdom right there. I can't add on to that. Wow. So, what's next for Kent Williams?
Well, next, we just the work today was unloading a tractor trailer load of drums of honey that we just extracted from the bees that have been on the river, and got that unloaded, and it's sitting in the driveway right now. So Next, I've got to move that into a building before the bees discover that there's a few leaky drums. Actually. But as far as next, no expansion really, but uh, a little bit of building as good of a honey house where I live as I have in Mississippi, so that we can extract in both places and equally and be equally efficient at it. And I'll start making some plans for that, and maybe instead of maybe next year, instead of having to unload the tractor trailer on the road in front of my house with a forklift and drum clamps, maybe I'll have them back into a place, where we can unload it with a dock plate.
Oh man, wouldn't that be nice? That'll save on the manual labor. Hey, real quick, we'll take a second and type in freedom. I don't know what that noise is, but type in freedom in the thing. We're going to do our $100 gift cards away. So type in freedom into the chat comment. We know you're there. Neil will take care of the rest. Please only do it one time so that it doesn't blow up the entire system. But if you can do freedom in the comments. All right, awesome. It's kicking off. So we got a lot of veterans and first responders, not only on the call now, but in the org in general, right? We're going to put this back, it's going to be on YouTube. We'll make shorts out of it, etc. For this wisdom that you're able, and thank you from the bottom of our heart for actually sharing this wisdom with us. What advice would you give to these, whether they're day one, year 50? What kind of advice would you give to, our nation's heroes about going through beekeeping, going through life?
Well, for beekeeping, number one, make sure your bees are healthy. Make sure they have a queen that's doing what she's supposed to be doing at the time of year. You can't expect her to be laying eggs in December, but if it's June, she'd better be laying. Make sure you got a productive queen. Make sure your bees are healthy, the hive is healthy, and make sure they got food. Don't, even in the middle of the summer, they can starve to death in the middle of the summer. Make sure they've got food. And for the beekeepers, um, work with one another to teach one another. I mean, there's a verse that says iron sharpens iron. That should be a beekeeper's mantra, is
Mm.
that uh, each one of us can make the other one better. 'Cause nobody knows everything, but everybody knows something that the other guy don't. So be generous with your time, um, and don't be don't be afraid to give somebody your top secret tips. Don't worry about competition. You make your product the best that you can, and don't worry about the competition. Help everybody get to be as good as you are, because you, you may need their help someday, and you don't want some dog of a beekeeper in your bee yard.
Yeah.
I mean, those things will make the beekeeping community healthier, and it will make it happier also.
I love that collaboration over competition. That's man. There's so much inside of just that one comment as well. Working together. It doesn't matter if you're even located in the same place. You're talking about a helpful tip, a helpful ear. Maybe even one of the videos that you might share could help somebody else. And simple things of that nature. That's collaboration. That's working together to literally make the world a better place. And you can do that with very little effort by just being yourself. Just be yourself.
One thing that's important to remember is that there's a lot of ways to do beekeeping, and just because it's not your way, don't mean it's wrong. Well, the wrong way of doing beekeeping is the way that kills your bees every time. That's wrong. But
That's the wrong way.
that's the wrong way. But if somebody is raising queens a different way than you are, but they're successful at it, so what? I mean, I have two guys that we share 1/3 of the business, and they do most of the heavy lifting and anymore. But they learn the system, and they have really grown it, and done great with it, but I don't make the same kind of cell builder as they do. They use a whole different setup and system. Both of it works.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if it works, use it.
Couldn't agree more. Keep learning from each other, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's got a ton of stuff. There's thousands upon thousands of resources out there that we use. We had just created another piece just called Journeys, and one of our, I guess he's our third year beekeeper now, but he started sharing his story. He's like, I didn't have a mentor. I live out in the middle of nowhere, and I did this, this, and this, and I followed these people, and I just listened and I worked with it, and it was online. He's had over 500 pounds of honey that he's donated back to the organization as a fundraiser in less than, in his second year. Right? I mean, this stuff is not impossible. You just gotta. I love you started this with humility, and I think that's a great way to end it as well. Being humble in what we do and don't know, and then working together literally to make it better. Kent, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I can't wait to see you in person because, man, what a great person you are. Thank you so much for being a mentor to all of us today. Keep doing what you're doing and reach out. And if I know there's 100 people on here now that'll serve with you any day, sir.
Well, anybody is welcome to contact me anytime about anything. I answer text. I don't usually have a good phone signal where I am, or I have my phone in my bee suit, and I'm not getting in my bee suit in the middle of a bee yard to answer a call. But I answer all the texts, I answer emails. But the one thing that I'll leave you with is that when you think you're getting really good at this and that you know a whole lot about it, look out. It's coming.
I love it. That's a great one to end on. That will probably be one of our highlight videos too. That's just a story of life. When you think you know what's going on, you don't know a darn thing. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Man, many blessings to you. Thank you so much for your time, talent, and knowledge that you've given us today. We appreciate you. Thank you, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Awesome. We got Mr. Craig Midget here today. Craig, you want to help us announce the winners today? I mean, we got some pretty awesome winners here today.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll help.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Are you sending me these names? You got that covered.
No, I got it, man. I just want you to be able to cheer. We love seeing your face. We love seeing all. Look at that smile. That's what I'm talking about, man. If y'all please give some more love to Kent, man. That's completely incredible. The individual that he is and the wisdom that he shared today. Oh my goodness! And it will be continued to serve. So if y'all can share that to your friends, because there's a lot of people that need to hear what Mr. Kent Williams just had to say. So in our two $100 giveaways today, which you are going to email us, right? We're going to email at support@hivesforheroes.org. I'm sorry, impact@hivesforheroes.org. Our first recipient is Chris Dowdy. Chris Dowdy, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. That's going to go to your local beekeeping store so that you can get the things that you need and fulfill those core values of connecting to another person and building that relationship that Mr. Kent just talked about. And oh my goodness, Mr. James Knoll. If y'all don't know him yet, he's a hoot. I'm glad to see him here. Hey, James, how's it going? You just won and received a $100 gift card as well. I'm sure you know exactly where to use it. So thank you all for being here today. And we want to close out literally by just talking about the things that we have here. Again, please show up on our Thursdays. There were a lot of requests for, how would one contact Mr. Kent? Kent, would you like to answer that? Is there a phone number, email that you'd like to share?
270-970-1307.
All right. I think that's it. I could be wrong, but I think that is correct. We got 270-970-1307 for Mr. Kent Williams out of Kentucky, the EAS Beekeeper of the Year that will not answer you in the yard, but he'll answer you when he's done with what he's doing, which is awesome. Okay, I'll repeat it again. It's 270-970-1307, Mr. Kent Williams. Again, we have the disaster relief open right now. We started that out with a $5,000 match. So even if nobody gives $1, $5,000 is still going to those that are affected by these storms. We might actually increase that if we can. And the reason why I'm saying that is we need to prepare. Just like as beekeepers, we need to prepare for what is coming. And it's going to hit Florida hard. There's a lot of friends in that area. I mean, you're talking about Tampa Bay all the way through from west to east. Florida, clearly, y'all know there's going to be a lot of damage on both sides, the north and south side of those hurricanes. They're talking about 15-foot swells. 15-foot swells in a 3-foot above sea level area is not good. All right. So if you are in those areas, please, vacate if you feel appropriate. Nobody will ever tell you what to do. You are making your own choices, but hey, we love and care about you. We want you to be safe, and we might again increase those funds because we need to be able to support. As we know right now, we talked to several people throughout the past couple days just about this specifically. Matt's taking care of all the donations that go into the fund for the North Carolina area. It's been devastated, as you all know. And then we'll probably have Amanda or somebody else help us out with those in the Florida area. There is no relief for us, hobby beekeepers and sideline beekeepers, especially if you're uninsured. There is no federal funding. Nobody's coming to help you. We got to stick together. Like, we literally have to do this as a community. As far as I talked to Blake, I talked to Randy, I talked to a couple others came in. There is no fund. Right. So we're starting it. We want to continue that. We've also considered a gear fund as well. We'll keep you updated on those things. But again, this is community coming together. Don't care whose name's on it. Doesn't matter. It's those people that are being affected by it. So as we continue to come together, just share what you can if you can. All right. And if you can't, we understand. But like Kent was talking about, these relationships are huge. We can support our brothers and sisters now. They might be there, and hopefully they will be when something possibly happens to you, right? And it's not the tit for tat. It's just doing the right thing for the right reasons. That's pretty much it. Craig, how are things going in your area?
Things are good for me in my area this time. I live in Middle Tennessee, south of Nashville. So we're coming, we're prepping for fall, of course. We are coming out of dearth. We had a long dearth where we usually, get a little bit of a fall flow in the end of September, October, but we were so dry for so long that ever since I pulled honey in June, I've almost been feeding nonstop. The little bit of fall flow that we had isn't really amounting to much, and bees are still needing support. Couldn't have been more right when he talked about beekeepers that really have to manage their bees. It's not a matter of setting them out in the field, getting to look at them and enjoy them coming and going and not doing anything. You do have to really be hands on. So that was great advice, of course, that he gave there. Just prepping those colonies for winter, making sure they have good food stores, making sure brood is down in your bottom box if you're running doubles. They have food above that brood nest can move up into over the winter. Kind of trying to set them up most ideally. On another note, if you're in Tennessee and watching this live stream or watching the replay on YouTube, our state conference is this weekend, Friday and Saturday, October 11 and 12. It's happening in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. That's the Tennessee the Tennessee Beekeepers Association annual fall conference. If you don't know about it, you can Google it and find information. I will be there. I will have a booth in the vendor area. I'm also getting the opportunity to present a breakout session on Saturday morning. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But please, if you're in the area, if you're coming to that conference, holler at me. Come see me. We'll love to meet you. And then also looking a little further down the road, we're getting ready for the North American Beekeepers Expo coming up in Louisville in let's see, January 2nd through the 4th. So we have a lot of things kind of in the fire, a lot of irons that we're fires that we're stoking and getting ready for that event coming up in January.
Oh, and y'all are gonna have a great time. Such tremendous people. New people are coming every year. I mean, it just gets larger and larger. Louisville. There's also will be an event for Hives for Heroes, so keep that on your radar as well. That one of those nights will go out. Last year was incredible. We literally shut down a restaurant. Had everybody was smiling and happy. It was very, very nice to see everybody, because oftentimes, since we're all over the United States, it's tough to get together on a consistent level. So that's one of those places where everybody comes together. You got your shirts. Everybody knows you're already there. It's pretty fun. And man, I don't know how long did we shut them down and then moved on. And man, we had such a great time. And that was
we near about moved everyone else out of the restaurant. We got there, I don't know, 7 o'clock. There were still a few patrons left. This was at Mission Barbecue.
Mission Barbecue. Thank you, Mission Barbecue. Man, they were incredible.
Yeah. Great barbecue spot, as well as supporters of veterans. So it was a great place for us to go support and hang out there. And yeah, we filled up that restaurant with standing room at times as well. So yeah, it was a good time. So look for, if you're going to be at Navi in January, look for an event or kind of pencil it in something on Friday night. We're planning something to get together as the members of Hives for Heroes to get together and connect and support each other.
Yeah, wonderful experience last time. I'm sure it'll be very much the same. There could be a few surprises in there. I'm glad you didn't say anything, because it could be a little different, but really, really epic. So that's closing us out for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in to this month's Hives for Heroes Connect and Serve Live. Don't forget to check out all the resources we mentioned that are on the website. You got tons of information out there. And if you can, please join us on the Thursday calls. Really good conversations, not live, not there, just on a Zoom, open chat. If you want to take it to a breakout room, feel free to do that as well. Maybe you even meet your mentor there. That's kind of a cool place to do it as well. You might not have seen them yet. And just keep spreading the love of beekeeping. This is incredible stuff that we do. And again, if you have the means and to support our brothers and sisters throughout this disaster relief fund, there's a donation link there that you've seen multiple times. And please remember, together we are making a difference. It's incredible to see. So until next time, be good.
Bye all. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.